Okay, welcome back. I'm going to try to explain this the best I can, but some of this is just guessing. Okay, in the old days, we had JavaFX was part of Java, and that's probably when the textbook was written and says, well, you just add these things and it'll magically work. No, it won't. JavaFX got pulled out, and then this Maven, which is the build environment that we're using inside NetBeans, Maven is supposed to look at all our things that we're doing and then figure out what to put in the project. And apparently it doesn't do this one particular thing. So we have to manually add a dependency. Now, we've never done this before, but here, yeah, we're going to have to manually add a dependency. Okay, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to do right click and say add dependency. And the dependency we need is this library called JavaFX-media. Oh, helps you to spell Java correctly. It'll probably find it a lot faster. And then we need to pick the exact version that we're using. So I'm using 13. I suspect you probably are using the same thing, but I need to find version 13 in the list here. Goodness, there's a lot of these guys. Just plain old 13, not 13 with something else. And I'm going to pick this one with the with the jar and the Windows thing. Okay, so now that I've added the dependency, you might think, okay, we're ready to go. No. We need to tell the application that we're working on that we're actually going to use this. Now, that's a little weird, so I'm going to do a right click on this guy. See where it says add to module info. I'm going to do that. Okay, now it knows. Okay, so I should be able to go here now and go, oh, you mean to do, I want an import? I know. That's a heck of a lot of work to get around what I think is probably a bug in Maven. But hey, they didn't ask me. Okay, now that I got a media, now we can get back to the book where it talks about the media player. Okay, so I need me a brand new media player. So now, by the way, the media player is an invisible thing. It has no visible thing at all, right? Media player. There's one called media view, which does actually have a real visible presence, but that's not what we're doing here. So I'm going to go media player, I don't know, MP is equal to new media player, and what my media is. Cool. And then I'm going to do, well, I guess I'll wait for the import guy. Thankfully, you only have to do this thing with importing a module once. Oh, it helps if you play it right. Good grief. Okay, cool. And then finally, I'm going to say mp.play, which is going to play my sound. Okay, if I didn't make any mistakes, let's go try this guy out. Now, it's not going to work exactly the way you might expect, and I'll explain that as soon as I get it going. All right, so I'm going to hit play sounds, and okay, now you might ask, how come it didn't work the first time? Well, there's a timing issue. Now, we're not going to cover the chapter in the book on how to do concurrent programming and how things work in the background. So I'm just going to wave my hands and say, yes, you have to push the button twice, but don't worry about it. Okay. Again, that's not described in the book at all, so we're just going to move on. All right. Shoo. All right. So that was a bit strange, wasn't it? That we had to go in and add a module to be able to make this thing work. And it's a bit strange that the media player doesn't cache up the stuff. It waits until it runs, and if it can't read it fast enough, it just stalls out. And so you have to hit it a second time, and then you can actually hear the sound. I know, it's kind of crazy. Okay, playing videos on page 974. It's basically the exact same concept. In fact, it's using the same thing with media view. And media view does have a visible thing that you could put on the screen to see. But other than that, it's the same old, same old. It's not going to be that much different, so I'm going to move on. The next thing we're going to talk about is handling key events on page 979. Okay, there's lots of key events. One of the events is when you press the key, like press it and hold it down. And then another event when you release the key. Ooh. Or you can get a combination of the two called the typed. So if I do just punch the key once, it actually fires a key press event, a key release event, and a keyed event, all three of those things. So sometimes you want to know when they press the key, sometimes you want to know when you let go, but most of the time you only really want to know, did they press a letter or something. Okay. Now, when it comes to keyboard input, what visual context do you have to be able to do this on? In other words, do I connect the keyboard to the circle? That doesn't make any sense. So most of the time, it doesn't matter where the focus of the application is. It doesn't matter at all, because that's just not relevant most of the time. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to create me a label, and then when you press a particular key, it's going to make the label change. Okay, that kind of makes sense? Okay, so I'm going to do me a label. LB1 is equal to new label. Helps if you spell label right. And I'm going to call this one, I don't know, just say hello. Just something out there. Hey, remember how we had to set the offset? Remember that? Because we don't really have a guy with a... we don't have a container that has any layout capabilities. So right here, I'm going to take this. And so I happen to know these guys are 25. So I'm going to go down to here to my label guy and make him 50. So you actually be able to see him. So LB1, and then set the layout in the Y direction to 50. Okay, cool. And let me go ahead and add my label on here so you can actually see him. Okay, LB1. Cool. All right. So what I need to do now is I need to attach an event handler to something. But typically you don't attach it to a particular control. Not normally. I mean, I could envision a scenario where that might be the case. But in our particular case, we're just going to set it up so that the scene is what does this. Okay. So if I'm going to do an event handler for the scene, it's going to have to be beyond line 89, right? So this is going to be scene. And you know how the event handler kind of works, right? It's going to be except this time is set on action is the way it's normally been. Except for a keyboard, there really isn't an on action. Let's just go through the list here and see what we can find. There's a key typed. That's what we're going to do. And then this is kind of sort of the same. Kind of sort of. Not exactly. I'm going to do a new event handler, and it tells me how to do this. New event handler. And then I need this thing called key event. And then bow legs, and then have the machine ignore me when I hit the carriage return, and go back and do it again. Okay. Oh. Helps if you spell things correctly. Okay. So I don't have this guy yet, so let me go ahead and get this guy. Okay, so this, instead of on action and action event, now this is a key event. Okay, kind of cool. Now, the key event is going to be kind of sort of the similar. It's going to be the exact same. It's going to start out the same, right? I'm going to do an override. And we're going to do public void handle, except this time I'm not doing the action event, I'm doing the key event. Okay, now this is going to fire every single time that you type type something on the keyboard. So I need to find out what am I typing, because maybe I want to just check one thing. So I'm going to check to see if you hit the 9 on the keyboard. So I'm going to say E dot. Let's see what we got here. So there's all sorts of strange things in here. I want to do get code. So get code. if get code is equal to key code dot, and this is kind of weird because in order for this to work, I need to go ahead and import that guy. And then I want to say digit 9. Okay, which just means if you press the 9 on the keyboard, this is what's going to happen. Cool. And so if you do that, well, then I want to change that label. Okay, something like this. So I go LB1, and I'll set text. You press 9. Okay. That's kind of sort of about it. Now, I will caution you when it comes time to doing key events, because the GUI environment is designed to work with people with limited mobility. The enter key is going to be automatically mapped to the same thing as pressing the click for the animate guy. Okay, in other words, they made it so that the mouse has a keyboard event for the enter key. Okay, so I can't map to enter while I have a bunch of these other guys. But I'm gonna hit 7. No, nothing happened. I'm gonna hit 8. No, nothing happened. I'm gonna hit 9. Haha, nothing happened. Okay, I have no idea why that didn't happen, but let me go see what I did wrong. Oh, sorry. Let's do not key type, but key pressed. Yikes. Key press. Yay! Okay, let's try that again. So we're just waiting for the key to go down. So 7, 8, 9. Yay! It caught it. Okay, kind of makes sense? Good. All right, so the next thing we're going to learn is mouse events. Now, mouse events typically are associated with some sort of a visible control, typically. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a series of events. Now, this one doesn't have to be, since it's not on the scene, it's up here at the top. I can afford to put it above that. So on the circle guy, okay, on the circle guy, I'm going to say, set on, right, how this thing starts. So I'm going to do a set on mouse entered. Mouse entered. Mouse entered. Oop, that's how I ended up with the thing before. Mouse entered. Okay. Is equal to a new event handler. Okay. So I'm going to need an event handler called mouse events. I'm going to put the bow legs. I'm going to go in here and hit return. And oh, hey, didn't ignore me this time. That's amazing. I wonder what I did to make that happen. Come on. Okay, cool. So, but just like before, this is going to be an override. And we're going to, only if you spell it right. And so we're going to go in here, we're going to say public void handle. And of course what we're going to handle is the mouse event. So all I'm going to do is when the mouse enters, which means when it goes across the surface of that thing, I want to do something different. But you're going to have to wait till the next video to find out what that is.